Should we put this, or just go down here?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. It is Wednesday, June 15th, and it's our midweek Oasis Wednesday night service. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Richard Robinson used to start his meditations on Sunday, and he would say, "Hello, church family," and I can hear him bellowing that from the front, and I was way in the back, and I always felt welcomed by that. And so I pay tribute to Richard tonight. It's been heavy on my heart this week. So I know he's with us as we celebrate. Oh, let's talk about the business, and then we'll talk about the celebrating. So what is the Wednesday night service, and why do we call it Oasis? We call it the Oasis because it's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. We present our Wednesday night services in our version of a satsang style, which is where we have a speaker come in, speak about 20 minutes, and then open it up to the group and the gathering as a rich, informal, and intimate experience tonight. So that's our intention. As well, tonight, as you can see from our newly enhanced welcoming program here tonight, we have a slide that represents what we are continuing to recognize Pride Month. And this is a time to celebrate the diversity in our village, to expand our allyship with all the LGBTQI people, and to enjoy the Wednesday speakers representing the LGBTQI community. Our annual theme is Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. And this month, appropriately for Pride Month, we're living everyday wonder with the focus on the body. If you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you. You obviously found our homepage of our website. We encourage you to go ahead and explore it a little bit. If you're interested in receiving more information, there's a sign up for our Village News newsletter. It's down in the left-hand corner. Throw your email address in there and you will start getting a weekly newsletter. And that weekly newsletter tells you everything that's coming up in the week, where it's happening, how it's happening, live or Zoom, all of that. We have lots going on here at the center, and that's a good way to find out what's coming up. Please be noted that our Zoom team will mute your camera and your microphone if you have not done that already. That will improve our transmission tonight. And please stay tuned for our special and important announcements. We'll be reading the new minister's covenant tonight as a part of our ritual. So that's very important. So that's all the beginning. And I'm just taking a moment to breathe because it's a very, very, very special Wednesday night. We have a wonderful guest speaker here tonight. Her name is KSuzanne Massey. KSuzanne is a member of the East Bay Church of Religious Science. She has been a licensed practitioner in Centers for Spiritual Living for over 20 years. She received emerita status in 2021. She is a seasoned teacher and facilitator. KSuzanne's life has been transformed through the teachings of the science of mind. Knowing that God is everywhere present in every experience at all times has been most comforting for her, especially through the losses of all of her closest family members over the years. Embracing the principles of this philosophy has been a catalyst in her healing while bringing her into a deeper enlightenment and understanding. So folks, please welcome, as I call her forward, from East Bay Church, KSuzanne Massey. She'll be speaking on The Body Remembers. Welcome, KSuzanne.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's our tradition here tonight. I'm going to be a little forward with you. And as a practitioner, we start with a prayer and we close with a prayer on Wednesday nights. And we're going to ask you to open us in prayer. And then we look forward to hearing your message.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let us just all go into that place of stillness, that place of being with the divine, breathing into that space. Knowing that God is everywhere present in every situation, in every circumstance, in every moment of time. God is the peace, the ease, the comfort, the healing in everything. God is love, unbridled joy, abundance, prosperity. The allness, the fullness, the completeness of God is ever present at all times. It is here now in this Wednesday service. It is here in this space. I give thanks for it. I give thanks for this opportunity to come together, to gather in this space of love, of joy, that is all God. And it is from this place of gratitude for this time, I just release it into that which has always been. I say simply, amen, and so it is. It is my great pleasure, my great honor to be with all of you this evening. I feel as if I have the opportunity to sit with all of you in this space of love. I am most grateful. I would like to begin our time together this evening with a quote from one of my most treasured mentors, Dr. Howard Thurman. The years, the months, the days, and the hours have flown by my open window. Here and there, an incident, a towering moment, a naked memory, an etched continence, a whisper in the dark, a golden glow. These and much more are the woven fabric of the time I have lived. Dr. Howard Washington Thurman. The reason I chose this quote to begin our time together is because it fully encapsulates the entirety of my experience in this body for nearly 62 years. In this human incarnation, I am existing within. This body carried me from a mere 3 pounds at birth through my childhood, my youth, my entry into adulthood, relationships, parenting, through everything I've ever moved through in my life. This body is completely unique and it is all mine. I say that because how I view our bodies is like a vehicle that transports our heads, the house for our brain, from one compartment to the other. Our bodies carry us out into the world. They carry us into the unlimited possibilities. Contrary to some of the scientific skepticism on body memory, I believe our bodies, even our cells, store memory. They remember losses, deep sadness, emotional scarring. They hold on to unforgiveness, hatred, whether external or internal. They react to it all. You may have heard of the term, "it was stuck in my body." We as humans, we tend to create stories. I'm a storyteller. I talk in stories. We create stories, I do, then paint portrait of our lives. The portrait that I painted of my life, that I drew, added onto for many, many years, was that my life was filled with grief, loss, and sadness. My most beloved brother was murdered the year I turned 21. My sister, who I completely adored, died of an aneurysm the year before I turned 30, leaving a toddler and an infant behind. I spent my 30s in service to my families, my family of origin, friends' families. I was in service. To my family of origin, I was in service to my aging mother, who was 48 when I was born, nearly 62 years ago. My three little ones, my daughter, and my nieces. Then, when I turned 40, my closest and most revered cousin died of lupus. The following year, my mother died at the age of 89. You see, my portrait, which was quite large, of pain and loss, truly became part of my story. Daily, I felt loss in my body. My body felt the effects of my emotional eating, which was triggered by the losses. Although at the time, I did not fully understand the grief and sadness in my body, I saw how it got stuck in my mother's body. After losing a son, a daughter, illness developed for her. When my brother was murdered in 1981, she had to have a pacemaker inserted. In 1989, when my sister and her mother died, she had to have another pacemaker inserted. I literally saw my mother's heart, the sadness of it, breaking each time she went through the loss of a child. She had one heart fixer. It was my daughter, her namesake. She was part of the sustenance of her life until she left this physical plane. My mother used to always say she wanted to live until my daughter was able to come home after school, come into the house, and stay there until I arrived. She made her transition 2 weeks before my daughter turned 14 years of age. Now, I've shared these examples with you because, as I said earlier, I'm a storyteller. I talk in stories. I also share them because they are, for me, examples of how the body remembers. I am certain that even with the great faith and belief that my mother possessed, that loss and pain remained in her body to the very end of her physical life. Gratefully, for me, New Thought, Science of Mind, became a stalwart in my experience around the time that my mother was making her transition. I was able to commit to allow the pain of loss, the sadness of loss, to release from my experience, from my body, to keep the love that I had for all my beloveds, to allow that love to sustain me. Ernest Holmes states in the Science of Mind textbook on page 232, paragraph 4. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. This is a promise we have all proven to a degree. Could we but comprehend the full significance of spiritual substance, we should be forever freed from all congestive thoughts, which have been called the waste products of the mind. Once again, that was taken from the Science of Mind textbook, page 232, paragraph 4, written by Ernest Holmes. I came to a place where I could feel the loss and sadness. Then, when it was my right time, I could move into the opportunities of growth that the loss or the sadness unfolded in my life. I could release it, even from my body. I found this to be true when one of my greatest losses occurred in 2014. It was the physical loss of my beloved wife to sickle cell anemia. I allowed myself to feel the loss, the pain, and fully grieve this great loss. I utilized the resources around me, my practitioner support, various other resources to assist me during that tender time. When the time was right for me, I was able to re-engage life with a deep understanding of the growth that had transpired within me as a result of my loss. When I think of that time, I smile within, thinking of the love, thinking of the joyous times, thinking of the goodness of God, that I have grown through all of the losses in my life. As I re-engage with life with a deeper understanding, time moved on. I was even able to meet a very dear soul here at OCSL at a diversity meeting who was also a widow in 2017. Now, she is my fiance with whom I live and share this life journey. Transformation of my growth. As in any loss, all of the other losses factored in. And I could recognize after that loss of my wife in 2014, the opportunity I had to be in a state of healing from all of the losses. At one point, I likened to experience of tying cans to the back of a wedding car. Everywhere I went, these losses went with me. Because of the growth, I could authentically let go of that portrait that I had painted as a result of the losses in my life. Then I was able to unveil the other portrait I was painting with strokes from my growth through my spiritual practices, through all. When I say all, I mean the entirety of my life experiences, enabling me to more effectively sense and feel the losses and pains in my life, including ancestral pain. I was even able in 2020 to see and begin to touch my own generational race trauma. I now had the tools through all of the other experiences, through all of the other growth to move through it all. I could see that I was aligned and fully erect in my own divinity. The healing, what was the healing? I'll tell you, the healing for me was the broadening of my heart and mind, which transformed my life, my body, and the body of my affairs. I would like to end this time with you all this evening of my sharing my story with a passage from Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. This is what it says. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole and complete, and yet life is ever changing. There is no beginning and no end, only a constant cycling and recycling of substance and experiences. Life is never stuck or static or stale, for each moment is ever new and fresh. I am one with the very power that created me, and this power has given me the power to create my own circumstances. I rejoice in the knowledge that I have the power of my own mind to use in any way I choose. Every moment of life is a new beginning point as we move from the old. This moment is a new point of beginning for me right here and right now. All is well in my world. Thank you for sharing this time with me and hearing my story. And I have 2 questions that I would like to share with all of you. I will put them in the chat. The first question is, have you experienced a time in your life where you may have felt there was something stuck in your body? Second question, what does the phrase transformed through my body mean to you? And I will put both of these questions in the chat and invite each of you to share on either these questions or whatever you want to share.
Thank you, KSuzanne. So wonderful. Thank you so much. So you're invited to ponder the questions and respond to them. The way we'll do that is like we do every Wednesday night. You can turn on your camera and raise your hand like this, and Peter will recognize you. Or you can use the reaction button and click the raise hand, and it'll move you to a place where Peter can see you. So KSuzanne will know who's next. So who would like to start the conversation?
Let's see.
Dorothy, go ahead.
KSuzanne, I want to thank you so much because you brought to me something I had not thought about when I lost both my parents. On June 17th will be my father's birthday. And I lost my mother one day after she turned 80. And I did not understand the anger that I had within myself for losing the people that I loved the most in my life at that time. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to look at this in a whole different way. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so, so much. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Dorothy. Sabrina, go ahead.
Thank you so much, KSuzanne. Thank you for sharing your story. I was very moved. You said something about you found science of mind when your mother was close to transitioning. And I was so struck by that because I found science of mind maybe 6 months before my mother did. And my mother used to tell me that she had angels. And just the way I felt so held at OCSL and just the thought process of science of mind and being able to just grieve. My first day of church was actually Zoe's Calm ministry. And I just feel like it was, I know I'm rattling right now, but I just was so moved. I just felt like an angel brought me here. And I feel like you just confirmed it. Because when I hear things like that, that's when I feel like Spirit's speaking to me. And that was just so beautiful. So I just want to say thank you for that. Transform in my body, your second question. That would probably take a couple of days for me to think about. But I will say that I'm learning to feel things in my body, let them be, and know that that's where Spirit is. And they're taken care of so that I could release them. And I have to give more thought to that as well. So thank you.
Reverend Jerry, go.
Oh. KSuzanne, thank you so much for your beautiful service this evening and for bringing forth the importance of our teaching in science of mind, particularly during these times of loss. I too lost my mother when I was going through practitioner training. So I was in practitioner studies at the time, and that was probably some 16 years ago. And what I remember was how important it was for me to embrace our teachings during this time of just a time of loss of a parent who I was so very close with, and just the appreciation for the opportunity that my mom and I had planned that we would be together when she made her transition. And I was holding her hand, and I was bearing witness to her soul leaving her body. And I was very, very, very connected to that experience. And so I just honor you for bringing our beautiful teaching into this, because without it, I'm not sure how I would have been, but I know that it made a world of difference. And the other thing is our practitioners were so beautiful during that time. Brings tears to my eyes because they were so attentive. And, I'm a giver, I'm a caregiver, I'm a giver, but this was my time to let go and be cared for. And I felt so loved and so embraced. I still have a beautiful plant here in my living room from way back then that was sent to me during the loss of my mom, and I cherish it, I nurture it. And it's right below her picture in my living room. So I just really am grateful that you embrace how you embraced our teachings during your time of loss. And your question about what does the phrase transformed through my body mean to you? I think my body's always giving me clues and telling me what's mine to do. And it's about intuition for me, really listening to what my body is sharing with me. So fabulous service. Thank you so much. You're just delightful. Good to know you. Okay.
Constance, go ahead.
Well, I'm sideways because I'm watching you on the big screen here. So, but the first question about things stuck in my body. Um, my mom died when I was 24, and at the time I didn't have any of this teaching. I was in graduate school. I was doing a PhD. I was living basically from the neck up. But after she died, I felt like she had inhabited my body, and talk about freaking me out. It freaked me out terribly because I had no context in which to deal with that. And so as a result, I retreated more into my head and less and got out of my body as much as I could, so that I didn't have to feel that, and I didn't know what it was. So and so I didn't really know how to grieve either, And I thought, you know how at 24 we think we know something, and it takes a few years to find out we really don't know very much. But I thought I knew, and it really started because I didn't grieve. It started me on a journey that really changed the whole trajectory of my life, because I made some fairly uninformed choices at that point. And so coming into religious science has really allowed me an opportunity to go back and to really re-examine all of those experiences and to feel them in a totally different way. So so now I can still retreat into my head. I can still go numb. But I used to dissociate, and I don't do that anymore. So it's made a huge difference in my life, and so I just really appreciate what you shared, and the whole body mind transformation thing is not an easy process to do, because the world tells us that our bodies they're not good enough, they're not this enough, they're not that enough, and that we're not supposed to actually inhabit them, or if we are, we're supposed to inhabit them for someone else's pleasure, and so on and so forth. So it really is a journey, and thank you for sharing. And so, could you talk a little bit more about how you did that transformation? So, yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, how I did the transformation in my life and in all. Absolutely. Well, coming from the place where, as I said earlier, where I had this portrait painted, and this was somewhat my opening address was the losses and the place of feeling the losses. It was most definitely diving into the science of mind, philosophy, the studies, went into practitioner studies, and it was a couple of years as I saw my mother decline, and in all that time, I was shoring up myself, and through the practices that had come into my life, to be able to move through that time, and then continue to grow stronger, and one day move through, as I mentioned, another loss, another great loss. And that transformation was really opening up my heart and mind, broadening my heart and mind, as I said earlier, to all of the experiences and to the philosophy which transformed my life, because it gave me it became the pillars of my life, where in which I could stand and I could hold on to, and shored me up, and also expanded my view of all of the other experiences I'd had prior, that they were opportunities of growth. I could let go of the pain and the suffering of it all. And at one point, I used to jokingly tell my friends, I was an average example of the Kennedys, because I had lost all of my people. I wasn't famous, but I was a day-to-day, down-to-earth example. And I could let go of that and say that the beauty of it all is that I had these amazing people in my life that were in my life at the beginning, and who I am today, the service-minded person, everything is because of my mother. And who I am today, the person that can laugh and joke, and is because of my siblings. And so I could take all of that and what they gave me and fill it up as the dressings, I should say, because I had these pillars of my faith, and then that was the other part of the dressings of my life, or the beautiful loved ones of my life. And I could take all of that, and it just, everything that I learned and moved through and brought into my life, my many practices, all of it I was able to take it all and just go from the person that would smile through her sadness to the person that is completely filled with joy from the love and the experiences I've had in my life, and I'm so grateful for. So I hope that answers your question, Constance. That's how I feel that I transformed through it all.
Thank you.
Gabriella, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get on the video. Hi, KSuzanne. Great to see you. Thank you. Beautiful talk. I sort of found emotional healing through my body a few years ago, where I had this year where I was having all these weird infections that would not heal, and they would last for weeks, and lots of discomfort. And that led me to find this healing modality that I'm studying right now, which is emotional release, and looking at the body as sort of the portal of like, what's going on? What did we not work through? What did I not work through? What did I not feel enough? What did I not process enough? What grief did I not, sit with long enough? And so, yeah, and I'm looking forward to sharing the healing with others. And the body, I do see it all as mind, body, spirit are one. And if one's telling us something, it means it's connected to the other parts. And I love what you shared about your mother, because it connects it all about her needing a pacemaker when something's breaking her heart. That's so real. And I'm loving this, the emotion code, which I'm studying, and it's really about naming what we're feeling, also like really getting specific and like, what is that feeling? Or, what's the difference between helplessness and hopelessness? And there's these little nuances that can distinguish feelings from other feelings. But I've heard you said have you experienced a time in your life when you felt like something was stuck in your body? And I had that year where I had these weird things going on. I had a throat abscess. I had to, like a sore throat gone bad very quickly. And I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, oh, I can't talk, and it's been days and things like that. Can't open my mouth very wide, and I didn't know what, and it wasn't strep. And then the second time I went to the doctor, he's like, oh, I think you need to check that out with the throat doctor, nose and throat doctor upstairs. And so went up there, and she said, yeah, I mean, I can try, if I have the right tools, I can, cut it out, and it's kind of a bloody thing. But then I did my emotional work on it after I was, crying in the seat with all this anyway. And it was kind of all about things I couldn't say, things I hadn't said, like the throat chakra, and I just find the body, well, fascinating, and it's here to tell us a lot, and we can let go and transform, especially sometimes we need help. I certainly didn't know how to do this kind of work, inner work, from a long time until now, and now I feel like I can free myself. But so I just loved your whole talk, because it's just all about what I'm looking at right now. So beautiful. So thank you. Great to see you.
Anyone else with anything to share you want to ask in general?
Dr. Judith.
Hi. Oh, I have not heard you speak before, but I could hear you speak many times. I wish I can. I hope I can get to hear you again. I have taken in a new idea. I don't think I have ever thought about the grief that I've been through in my life is sitting there in my body, in my heart, all through the body. I was 21 when my mom passed away, and I was a hippie. What did we know back then? I was a definite hippie, and she hadn't been that well, and I came back, and my husband to be, we weren't married yet, followed me, and because I thought somewhere inside me, I think I knew that she was going, and so we got married. Which I know that she thought that I was going to be taken care of, and so it would be okay for her to go. She was like, I was the youngest of 5, and I was called by my parents. This is the baby of the family. So we went back to California, and we just found a new place to live. And the very first night in the place, I had a dream, which I've told to many folks. And it was a long distance telephone call. And it was me, my mom was calling me to tell me that she couldn't be my mom anymore. She had to go. And the phone call was like arguing. No, I'm the baby of the family. You can't leave me. And I'm not ready. And it was just this argument. And she said, I have to go, sweetheart. I have to go, honey. She called me those things at different times because, and I have to tell you that I grew up, we are Jewish. My background is Jewish. And then she said in the dream on the phone, I can't be your mother anymore because I have to be a mother superior now. So I was like, That was the dream. And the next day I woke up, I told it to Chuck. And then we went out somewhere. And while we were out going around the city, my uncle and aunt managed to find us and put a note under the door, call Hartford, which was all it said. And she had, she was either, during the dream, she was either in a coma already from a massive heart attack while she was in the hospital, seeing if she could have heart surgery, or she had already made her transition. So I did not know. I had nothing. Judaism didn't give me any way to deal with this. And I hadn't begun any other kind of search for quite a few years after that. And I was angry, despite the fact that she came through the ether 3,000 miles to tell me goodbye, which was a great gift. I know that. And it took a long time. I don't even want to say exactly how many, it's a couple of decades before I got over it. And in that time, I began to learn more through Al-Anon, and also something called Gurdjieff work. I just began to learn more. And then when I came to Science of Mind, that was so big that finally, I actually have tools. And I think that I can take those tools and use them with my body and not, I can still be with her and remember her beautiful voice. She had an amazing voice. Someone once said that she sounded like a cello. And that was her gift to me and to my sister, that we loved music and we loved to sing. So I can find her again. And I think it's listening to you tonight. I feel I can find her again, and I want to find her again. And I also want to spend some time finding my sister again, who they both were 61 when they passed away. And I'm a lot older than they were now, so I should know a lot more. Anyway, thank you for the gift of being able to, I feel like I've been able to open up my heart, and I can start seeing what it's doing, what I've done with my body as a result of these two major other losses, but these were the two major ones. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judith. Yes. Oh, Sabrina, go ahead.
Sorry, that was a mistake. I already spoke. I don't.
Okay. Anyone else have a burning moment they want to share? If not, we'll move on with our program, and we cannot move on without thanking KSuzanne. So please show her your appreciation for her being here. KSuzanne in gallery view, you can see all your devotees, your new ones. I think you've created a following tonight. And I'm Constance, if you have something here to say.
Well, I'm curious that everyone who's commented has been female tonight. I'm wondering how this has landed on the men. If your relationship to your body is different, or if something else is going on. I'm just curious. I'm not to put you on the spot, Paul, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh.
Or so.
Well, for
Peter,
me,
or Dennis,
go ahead, put me on the spot.
That's all right. There's not a spot that God is not, so I'm okay. I'm cool. But I will say, KSuzanne, what I noticed was that even though it was all ladies, because I don't look on either side of the spectrum, but what was predominantly spoken was about our relationship with our mother. I think tonight from this group, and heard clearly from you. I also too had the great fortune to be able to care for and usher her into her next great reward. And as like Reverend Jerry held her hand, I'm fortunate to have a partner of 35 years who is a trauma nurse that, or was at the time, he's now retired, to guide me through the physical process with her. My sisters both were here, and I was able to, kind of weirdly, when my sisters walked out of the room and I was left alone with just Steve and I and a very dear friend of ours. And that was when she decided to make her transition. And Stephen was listening to her pulse, and he said, in her feet, by the way, and he says, Paul, you're going to say anything. Now's the time. So I did. And I told her to go and that I loved her. And this is the important part that I wanted to share with you, KSuzanne. I didn't want to share it publicly, but I will anyway, since I was invited. I said, I will see you soon. And two things happened. One, maybe Reverend Jerry can agree with me on this. When you're in the presence of that transition, all of a sudden it's over in the physical. And in that moment, I realized how precious life is. Second was that I know I'm going to see her again. There's something about, and I was going to ask you if we had a side time or needed more time, if you don't mind. Do you feel the same way when our, and someone can look it up, I'm just quoting it from off of the time, but what we believe, in the what we believe line, it talks about the continuity of life, that it just doesn't end on this plane, that it just evolves to a greater expression. I'm just paraphrasing it.
Yes.
The way I understand it, and I understood that at the time of her passing. So I just have this kind of comforting thought that I'm just going to see her again.
Yes. Yes.
I wonder if y'all have the same kind of feeling through our philosophy on that, what we believe line about the evolution of life.
Yeah.
I agree, Paul. I can't wait to see my mother and my father together. And I'm an only child, so you know I can't wait to see them and my grandmother. Because we're going to have a fabulous party when we get together.
Well, I ain't gonna let them invite you home real soon, because Dorothy, I need you for a little bit. So, you know, you can
I don't believe that God put us here to not be together as family. I believe that God has put us here to do what it is that we are supposed to do. But when we decide to leave this planet, I am knowing that as we go forth, that we join those that has gone before us. I just know and believe that I know the reunion of my mother and my father and I are going to be the best of the best. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed knowing that that's what I have to look forward to when it's my turn. I know there's stuff God wants me to do here, but I know that when I let go and let God, that I will meet my mom and dad one more time, and it will be rejoicing. And I'm complete.
Do you share that kind of?
That is beautiful. I just wanted to just expand a little bit on what you said, Paul, and thank you so much for sharing that, Dorothy. It was just like a beautiful poetic poem. I for me, it was very comforting in what we believe in the eternality, the immortality, the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. For me, it meant that these loved ones of mine, that my experience with them was not finite. And that was the most comforting thing. And I personally have felt throughout my life, because it's come on some days now that some of them have left this physical plane. There have been the times of my life when there's great challenge. For instance, when my wife died, once I remember I was little, maybe a year after she died, I had gallbladder surgery. And it was the first time I'm like, I'm by myself. I didn't feel by myself. And when I was waiting for the doctor to come and tell me what needed to happen, I felt like there was an entire room that was so filled with the people that I loved, those that I knew, and even others, that there probably was a room for the doctor to get in the room. So I feel, because of these principles that we believe, that yes, my loved ones are with me. They'll always be with me. And I look forward to a time where I can be even closer to them. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other guys or Freya? I see your
Freya,
hand.
I,
go ahead.
I just want to say I'm glad she said what she did right now, because people talk about seeing our loved ones after we're gone. And I just have to say, I'm not waiting. You know, this week was my mother's, would have been my mother's birthday. And we have our family pictures on the kitchen counter altar. And I just got right there in her picture to look right in her eyes. And I swear she was there with me. I mean, I can't wait till I'm dead to see them again.
Mhm.
When I want to and really need to, I reach out and I talk to them, and I feel their beautiful presence of who they are and who they were. And thanks for saying that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding us, Freya. Anybody else feel like they need to share something? I'm looking at our beloved father time clock. Again, KSuzanne, you opened up a large and huge and wonderful conversation. This is being recorded so people can go back and visit it and see you. I'm sure you'll have some more followers. We're so grateful that you were here tonight. I'm going to shift a little bit over to some information items, and then we'll have you close us out in prayer. Helene, when you're ready, let's take a quick look and see what's coming up. On Sunday, June 19th, this coming Sunday, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman, one of our great folks, members of our extended family, started here at Oakland Center. She'll be speaking on The Body Remembers, so she's coming home. And June 19th is also Juneteenth. In honor, there will be a light lunch fair in the social hall for a love offering. So join us in person with meditation at 10 and the service at 10:30. We're now streaming, as most of you know, directly to YouTube, and the link is on the homepage if you choose to watch the service from home. Next Wednesday, June 22nd, Sam Lejean will continue to illuminate Pride Month and the monthly theme of the body. He'll be speaking on the one body. Again, meditation is at 6:30 next Wednesday and services at 7. Wednesday night services will remain on Zoom. The Loving Stewards of Mother Earth Ministry are bringing a very special workshop, Earth Prayers, to Oakland Center. The class is Saturday, July 16th from 1 to 5. You'll learn to capture the essence of what you see with a few strokes of ink, to be in conversation with the earth through asking and listening, and to take this practice with you wherever you go. The class cost is $90 and all materials are included. Now, it's very, very important if you're interested in attending that you pre-register, and it must be done by Saturday, July 2nd, so that they can order the materials. So please check this out on our events page. Diversity Circle is Friday, June 24th at 7 p.m. So save that date. We're giving you advance notice, and watch for the topic. We'll be talking about it on future Wednesdays and Sundays. As always, for information on all that is going on at our Oakland Center, visit our website. Be sure to check out our events page, and don't forget you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So at this time, we're going to read the new Minister's Covenant together. I will read if you will follow along. So just take a holy moment and breathe in spirit to commune, to know this is our desire, our new Minister's Sacred Covenant. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. I am knowing that I am one with this life that is God. I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as wisdom. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit, for it is written, I am filled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing that this truth about myself, for I am inspiring unity in diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I am engaging the community and building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illumines spirit and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious, and so it is. Ashe. So in this moment of gratitude, I'm remembered that we're called forward from time to time to contribute to our center. There's many ways we can contribute. We can do it through time or treasure or talent. All are generously given, and we know that they are a gift. So follow along as I read the affirmation. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. And in knowing that, there's ways to contribute financially. We make them pretty easy for you. You can go to our homepage and you can donate with a credit card, or you can mail it to the address listed. You can text it to 510-327-3431. You can use Zelle if you know how to use that. That's a new practice that a lot of folks are using at giving@oaklandcsl.org. Or you can join us in person on Sunday. We have offering baskets available to receive your gift. So I bless and receive this gift, and I release it knowing it does great things in our universe. So I'm thankful for all of that and the more, as Reverend Jerry would say often, and I try to tag that every time I get a chance. So I want to take a few minutes to thank some folks. First of all, again, thank you, KSuzanne, for being here and leading us tonight in this thoughtful concept that you brought forward. I want to thank Reverend Jerry for joining us in person. It's always a delight that she joins us on Wednesdays. So thank you, Reverend Jerry. We have a terrific team working up front, taking care of all the stuff in the background. And I want to thank our hosts tonight from Portland, Peter and Helene and Sabrina and Alice. Louise was out there watching for a little bit. He's part of the team. We know blessings upon all of these folks that come forward and contribute in this fabulous way. Hey, Suzanne, I have a saying that I'll use it here tonight with you. It takes a team to make me look this good and sound this good. So I'm extremely grateful for it. They're just the best. I also want to thank Constance Chapman and Zoe. They do a lot of work in the administration and the physical support of this event. So thank you guys so much for everything that you do. I look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday. And as we start every Wednesday night service with prayer, we close it with prayer. So KSuzanne, if you would, I would be delighted if you would close us out in prayer tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm just breathing into this time of connection and this time of deepening and this time of opening up, giving thanks for each and every one here this evening, giving thanks for each beautiful heart, giving thanks for the good, which is God, present here with us this evening throughout the entirety of the rest of our weeks and forward, on and on. I am just knowing and being grateful for God's peace and joy and comfort and the understanding that God is everywhere present at all times. I'm just giving thanks for this and so much more. And it is in this gratitude I release all of this knowingness, this wisdom, this goodness, this divine peace and joy and love for each and every one into that which is the allness of God. And I say simply, Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is.